High Vibe Nation is live. Welcome to the High Vibe Nation, where we have set out to raise the vibration of every human being on the planet. Your hosts on this journey are Sherry Gideons and Pamela Aubrey. So let's join them now in their current interview with a high-vibing individual.
Hello and welcome to the High Vibe Nation, the #1 positive media show focused on raising the vibe of the planet, a space for you to remember the power within you. I'm your host, Sherry Gideons, and this is my co-host, Pamela Aubrey.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. We're so excited to have our special guest, Inga. I'm going to try to say this last name right, Lizdanita. She is a keynote speaker on inspiration, empowerment, and Christian faith. She is a certified life coach and author of the book Unstoppable, It's a Choice. Inga's mission is to inspire others and have essentially a message of hope, faith, and empower individuals to persevere, overcome, and achieve. After losing both of her legs and the use of her left arm in a tragic car accident at the age of 22, Inga was able to transform her life from nothing and not being able to speak, move, or do anything independently to traveling 3 years later by herself from her home country, Lithuania, to the United States and successfully building a dynamic and fulfilling life in spite of all the odds. By offering her speaking and coaching services, Inga now aims to make a difference in people's lives. She brings a message of hope and faith through practical advice and coaching, and she equips individuals to be strong in any circumstance, break through obstacles, and achieve their goals. Welcome to the show, Inga. Such a joy to have you.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a great pleasure. Thank you.
You bet.
Absolutely, such a joy. And as you know, on this show, we like to talk about what it means to be high vibe. So tell us what that means to you.
Well, to me, that is an honor and a great joy, actually, to be part of that, because I believe the life is, you become unstoppable when you are positive, when you find a way to resolve any issue, when you find positive, a good thing in the distraction, when you always have faith, when you always have a positive outlook, positive perspective, when you focus on the things that are empowering you, when you focus on the things that you have, that you can do. Life is so much more beautiful, and so it's a great joy for me to be part of this group, and thank you so much for inviting me to share my story and to be with you.
Aw, so sweet. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much. Yes. So Inga, start us out with your story and tell us how you became an amputee and how you've moved forward from there.
Well, as none of us can predict that something bad can happen in your life, right? So neither I could even think of what can happen in my life. And I was only 22 years old when my beautiful, dynamic life, which I loved, turned into a nightmare overnight. So my boyfriend and I, we were just hanging out at night in the pizza bar, and like around 1:30, we were driving somewhere. I don't know where we were driving because I don't remember anything. And my boyfriend was driving 100 miles an hour on the icy road right in the downtown of Vilnius city in Lithuania. And the road was it was icy road, slippery road. And at that speed, we hit the light pole. And from the strong blow, our vehicle was torn in half. My boyfriend was killed instantly. He was ejected out of the vehicle, killed instantly. He was only 26 years old. And the emergency crew, when they arrived and wrecked vehicle in pieces, they found me there with severed both of my legs and unconscious, bleeding to death. So they brought me to the hospital, and it's a miracle that I'm actually alive. My heart stopped twice, and I was I was on the verge of death twice. And so praise be to God, I remained alive. But when I woke up in a terrifying world, the losing nearly half of my body, because besides the fact that I lost both of my legs above the knee, my left arm was paralyzed. I was injured throughout my body, from head to toe, so to speak, and severe head injury. My neck was nearly broken, nearly left me fully paralyzed, ribs broken, my right hand broken. I was laying in bed flat. I could not speak, I could not move, I could not even breathe by myself. So that's how I woke up to the new life. And it's amazing that I'm alive, and it's kind of sobering thought that overnight everything can change in your life. You never know what comes, and we have to treasure every moment of our life that we have.
Yeah, I agree.
Wow. Well, and so in that moment, I mean, what helped you to kind of hang on and transition and move into this new future that you would have never anticipated?
What was my foundation of my strength and the will to fight for my life and not give up? First of all, it was my faith. I believe that there was a reason why the car accident happened. There was a purpose. There was a reason why I remained alive. And I believe that with God's help, I will be able to restore my life. And I just made the decision. I made the decision not to sit and cry about my destiny. See, Lithuania, the entire country, and my city, I lived in the capital of the country, was not accessible for people in wheelchairs. All the houses were built in Soviet Union, the house that I lived, and so there was no access at all at that time. It was 20 years ago, in 2000. And so basically losing my legs meant losing my life, because we lived in the 5th floor of the 9th floor house. And so I was not able to get out of my home. I was not able to go into the city, to go to the store, anywhere. Basically, I became imprisoned by the walls of my own home. And so many said, Inga, your life is broken. This car accident broke your life, broke your destiny. And every time I heard those words, it seemed like this anger. I was angry, like, no, my destiny is not destroyed. And there is the cultural belief, well, probably that's your destiny, that's your fate. Because people couldn't understand, they didn't know how to comfort me and how to explain why things happen like that in your life. So there is just common way of saying, well, probably that's your fate. And I refused that belief, and I said, no, this is not my faith. I will restore my life. I am not going to live like this. Basically, for the entire year, for 12 months, you are locked in your room. I could not get out. I could not take a breath of fresh air, and it was devastating to me because I was only 22 years old, and so I said, I will do whatever it takes. I was ready to fight, and I said, with God's help, somehow, I don't know how, but somehow I will restore my life. And so that was my foundation, that determination that, I'm not going to allow this car accident to determine my life. This is not how I'm going to live. And, I want to share with you the story that greatly, greatly empowered me when I was in the rehab center, and I kept asking questions to myself, God, why this had to happen so cruel? How am I going to live my life without my legs, with only one arm? What do I do, in the place where that has no access? And I was constantly, I was constantly in that agony, the anguish of the loss that I no longer can get up from my bed to go anywhere, simply to the bathroom. I cannot go make a coffee. I cannot dress. I cannot do anything. And I was constantly in that mindset, like what I lost and what I no longer have. That I don't have my legs. I don't have my arm. I don't have my freedom. I don't have my independence. And so one day, the massage therapist comes to me and she says, the first thing that the first thing that she says when she enters the room, she was all, positive, high vibe. And she's like, Inga, do you know that you were born under the lucky star? I'm like, really? Really? Lost both of my legs, destroyed my
Yeah,
life.
right.
I have one arm. I'm fully, laying in bed, and you tell me I'm born under the lucky star. And she says, no, you don't understand. I checked your x-rays of your neck, and I saw that when this little bone that consists your neck, I don't know, how do you say that in English, that it got broken, nearly broken. It got already damaged. And so she said, if you had just turned your neck a little bit stronger or a little bit different angle, she said, you would have completely broken your neck and you would be paralyzed up to your neck for the rest of your life. Do you understand how blessed you are and that you are born under the lucky star? The shivers go through my body as I'm
I feel
sharing
that.
this.
Yes.
And that moment I thought, maybe God was actually watching over me that night. But I could not let go that I lost my legs. I don't have, everything that I used to have. And in a day or two, my mom and I, we were walking around the rehab center, and we meet a young man. He was in the wheelchair. And so he was fully paralyzed. A young guy, has legs, has both arms, completely paralyzed up to his neck, and he actually had difficulty speaking. And as I was speaking with him, he was sharing his story, a thought comes to me. This is what massage therapist was talking about. This could be you. Sherry, Pam, you can, at that moment, I thought how happy I am, how happy I am. Yes, I don't have my left arm, but I still have one. I can learn to do things with one arm. Yes, I don't have legs, but I can move. I can get prosthetic legs. I can move my body. Yes, I have also a severe head injury, but I can communicate clearly. I can think clearly. How happy I felt that moment. And that was the moment that was like, when you stand on the crossroad and you choose one path, and that was the moment that directed my destiny entirely different way than it could have been. That moment I thought, you know what? It's what you do with what you have, what makes a difference in your life. I will pay attention that I can move, I can still walk with prosthetic legs. I can learn to do things with one arm. I can think clearly. I can communicate. I will rebuild my life. I will focus on what I have and what I can do instead of what I don't have and cannot do. And that totally directed, it made a trajectory to my life toward the restoration. So that greatly empowered me, focusing on what you have instead of what you don't have, or what you can do instead of what you cannot do. And that was really awesome moment that just made that trajectory toward the blessing.
Oh my gosh.
That is so powerful.
So relate with you, because my own journey of awakening very much happened similarly, where I had a massive heart attack and died, and it was from that experience. In my situation, I was shown my entire life, everything I had given, but I was also given the gift of being shown my mission, what I had come for. And when I came back, I was trying to, very much figure out the same things. Why did this happen to me? The same type of questions. But what really happened in my case as well is the people that were no longer part of that part of my journey fell away. And it required surrender, and it required allowing myself to be guided and to be shown. And I very much came to the same realization as you, is I realized, what I wanted to be this grander, greater expression of myself, and that I had to tap inside, and it required a lot of surrender. And there were many stages of what I like to call tools that I acquired on the journey of adversity. So would you share with us some of the tools that you acquired on your own journey of adversity?
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, first, that was, as I mentioned, that was the faith.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, I learned to have unshakable faith.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times people lose faith when they pray to the Lord and they don't receive the answer and they give up. They say prayer doesn't work. There's no God. And I'm not going to do it because it doesn't work anyway. I learned to have unshakable faith, to wait on the Lord until you receive the answer. And my life after the car accident, it became really a beautiful, beautiful journey of faith, where I saw the power of God, how He can make the impossible possible. And so, first is to have unshakable faith in the Lord, because He is faithful to His word. He is faithful, and He hears the prayers of those who cry out to Him with sincere heart, who cry out to Him and wait on the Lord, and do not doubt, but wait until you receive the answer. I have so many testimonies of answer prayers that it's my book is basically consists of many testimonies. And then, what helped me also is ability to manage yourself. I learned how critical it is to manage your own way of thinking, your mindset, your focus, what you focus on, how you think, how you look at your life, what is going on in your life, and what you think about the future as well. People tend to focus on what's not working in their lives, what's not good, what is bad happening in their life. I have learned to, as I just shared, learn to focus on the solution instead of the problem, what I have instead of what I don't have, the opportunity instead of challenges or problems that I had or obstacles. I have learned to focus on things that empower me to go toward my goal. So the power of focus, that is very imperative, I would say, in the journey. The power of perspective. It's how you look at things, your outlook as well. People build their belief, their underlying belief comes from the culture, from what they are believing because of the people that they respect, books that they have read, as I said, common beliefs in the culture, and so on and so forth. And they build their mindset based on those underlying beliefs. I built my mindset on the Holy Scriptures, on the Word of God. When others said that my destiny was broken and that there's nothing good that is ahead in my future, I said that there is a blessing in my future because the living God is with me and I will have His blessing. And that gave me the power to not give up, because I had believed that in the future my life will still be good. I will still have a blessing in my life. And managing just yourself, your discipline, work ethic, You know, many people try to work a little bit toward their goal, and then when they meet the obstacle, they say, well, probably that's a stop sign. The obstacle is equal to the stop sign. I cannot get over. I cannot break through. I have learned that obstacle is not a stop sign. Obstacle is just something that you jump over, go around, go below, break through, do whatever it takes. But this is like a race, athletic race with barriers, with obstacles. You jump over, you break through the obstacles so you can move forward. Many times I see that people don't reach their potential, or they cannot reach their goal because they stop when they hit the obstacles and difficulties, and when the journey of reaching their goal becomes too difficult for them. And I would say that the big reason why I was able to transform my life, to travel across the globe by myself and build my life, was not because somebody brought me America on their hand and said, "Here, live your life." But I had to face and to break through so many obstacles, and they were obstacles that it seemed like there's no way I can break through them. But because I knew what to do when it's difficult, I knew what to do when I faced the obstacle, that's why I get to live the life that I live today. So that's very important, your attitude when you meet your obstacle. There's so much to share. I can talk for
It
hours
sounds like
here.
it.
Such a beautiful.
Well, it sounds like you've made the choice to be unstoppable over and over. And so
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about how that inspired your book and then what readers will get from it.
Well, what inspired to write me is my brother. I never wanted to be an author. I never thought that I could be an author. But one day my brother sent me a text message saying, "Inga, I don't know how to live my life anymore. Help me." And I was already in California. He was in Europe, and I knew if my brother sent me that kind of a text message, something bad really happened, and I just didn't know how to help him. And as I was just sitting in the room like, God, what do? I don't know how to help him. And an insight came to me, a thought, write him a letter. Write him a letter about everything what empowered you to rebuild your life. And so I began writing him letters. And as I was writing him letters, he was appreciative and said, keep writing. Your letters is the only light in my life. So I kept writing. And then after a while, my brother shared with me that he was in a very bad place in his life, and he was on the verge even committing suicide. And he said, I just didn't know how to live, how to continue my life. And he said, Inga, thank you for writing, continue writing, publish it into the book to help other people. So I just saw how everything led me toward writing my book, and so I continued writing, and I published, and it is like two books in one. In my book, I share my personal journey of how I was able to transform my life. I share my story very openly, very intimately, personally, and the other part of the book is coaching, the how-to, because the how-to is the letters that I wrote to my brother to help him, to empower him what to do. And I thought that maybe this will be helpful to a reader, not only get inspired by reading somebody's story, right, but actually be empowered to do that same thing in their own lives. Because a lot of times I meet people who say, oh, Inga, you are so strong. You are so strong. That's why you were able to overcome. And that's why you were able to do what you did. But I would not be able to. If I were you, I would have committed suicide. I have heard that numerous times. And so, and my desire is like, no, you can overcome. You can. You just have to know what to do. So in that book, there are actual practical tools that will help the reader to overcome their obstacles, to overcome depression, to know how do you set your mindset in the way that will empower you to break through, to not give up. And so there are many, many personal development tools in the book as well. So it's like two books in one. The person will be inspired by a true story and empowered as well by reading actual practical tools.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Love that.
Love it. I love it. So what are some of the practical tools? Like, let's use, for example, fear. If somebody, fear or worry, just like what's going on with the COVID right now, and people's habit is to, be very afraid right now. What are some practical tools that you would use to help people like that?
What empowers me is my foundation, faith. Instead of fear, I have faith. Every time when I faced situation that was terrifying, or I went into the unknown, like I went to America to live, having no home, no money, no job, nothing. It was not an easy decision. And many people were saying, how are you going across the globe by yourself, having nothing? And the realistic thoughts, when you start thinking realistically, fear traps you. Fear is paralyzing, and fear is, you can be living in terror by thinking about things that are unknown, that is scary, and what if. When you start focusing on those things, you will live in fear. You'll be terrorized. But I have learned to turn that fear with faith. Instead of thinking, what if something happens, I was thinking, God is with me. So because the Lord is with me and he has control over everything in my life, I will be okay. That's exactly what I say to myself today. I am with everybody else in this situation, and faith helps me a lot. Also, gratitude for all the beautiful things that you have. Just focusing on things that you have, how blessed you are, and that you're healthy, that you're breathing, that you have what you eat, you have your home. What a great thing to have. The thing is that we don't feel gratitude about something until we lose it. Only we lose it, that's when we start saying, oh, how good I had it. So before you lose it, be grateful for what you have, and faith. To manage yourself, to manage your thoughts. Do not allow yourself to go into that scary place, what if, of the unknown. Mainstream media is very, it impacts greatly how you feel. I was listening to mainstream media for a week maybe or so here, and I noticed how badly it affected me. So I just decided, you know what, I will just know the facts that are actually happening, but I will not indulge in it. I will not spend a lot of time in it, because this is really bad. It can really get you, very discouraged and depressed. Some people do get depressed because of what you consume in yourself. Be careful what you consume. Yeah.
Wow, that's such great information. And what kind of daily rituals do you have that really support you in using those tools consistently?
Gratitude. Gratitude is the number one. In the morning, I spend my time in the prayer, thanking God for everything that I have. And one thing I remember Tony Robbins said, the words that stuck with me, and I live with it. He said, never forget where you came from. Which is, he doesn't speak about location, but where you were in life and where you are now. Because we tend to forget all the good changes that happen in our lives. We kind of get used to, and we no longer appreciate that. So I trained myself to stop and appreciate. I know where I was and where I'm now. Immediately, I feel grateful. The things that I used to dream of, seek, try to achieve. Now, today, I live it. It's my daily life. So I spend time in the gratitude and in my prayer, and I control my focus, what I focus on. These are main thing. Perspective as well, as I mentioned, the way I see the situation and what the meaning I give to that situation. What does it mean to me? Is it the end of my well-being, or is it the beginning of a new journey, right? New adventure.
Right.
It's a very different thing, the way you feel and the way you act, what decisions you make, depending on your perspective, how you look at things, and what meaning you give to it. So these are my main things. Yeah.
I can relate with that a lot in what you're saying, because so much of it, as you mentioned, you don't realize what meaning has for you until you lose it, until you lose the things that you thought were the most important thing to you. And I know for myself, a lot of alone time really put me into perspective, where I could really ask those deep questions. What is it I really want? And, I'm a believer, what you're seeking is always seeking you. And, because when we connect to the Holy Spirit within each of us, and we really tap into, some of the tools you were talking about, gratitude and self-love and surrender. And I think that I hear when you're sharing with us that a lot of it for yourself was learning to live in the moment, to create those habits of surrendering in today and really trusting and developing that faith. How would you guide somebody to develop faith? If somebody, because we do still have perceptions with people where they are, either agnostic or they just don't believe in God, and they might be struggling and going through difficult times themselves. How would you help them strengthen that faith? Because I can hear it in you when you're sharing. It's beautiful.
Oh, I live. Faith is, I'm breathing with faith. Yeah. Before I got into car accident, I already was in faith. But what happened after the crash, I ended up to be, as I said, at home alone. And even though my friends visited me from the church, but I didn't have a chance to run to the church and say, please pray for me, right? Nobody taught me to have faith. No, opposite. What I kept hearing is that your destiny is destroyed, and that this young man killed your life, basically. And I was alone. And you know what I did? You know how the Holy Scripture said, become like a child. And really, literally, my situation was so hopeless that there was no realistic hope. Let's put it that way. Realistically, it was impossible to change anything. And so I just sat there in my room, and I just talked to God just like I speak with you. And I said, Lord, I know you are there. I know you hear my prayer. And so I was just sharing my heart with him. I sharing my hope, and I was affirming my faith that I believe, I trust you. And I know that just like my life got broken, you have the power to restore my life. And when I was praying that prayer, as I mentioned, I just sat in my bed. I couldn't even get out of my room. I couldn't get out of my house. It was impossible to make any kind of changes in my life. That's where I started my faith journey of my faith. And then, when I didn't want to wait another morning to come, I spoke with the Lord. I said, Lord, I don't want to live like this. How? And in the morning when I got up, I felt the willingness to live. I felt even enthusiasm to do something, to change my life. And so I started seeing the answers to my prayers. I saw that when I talked to Jesus Christ, when I talked to him, my prayers are answered. And so I started developing my faith like that. I was praying and I was seeing the answers to my prayers, and so I kept praying and my faith grew. My faith grew, and I kept in mind what the Lord has done earlier for me. So I said, okay, so God answered my prayer there. He blessed me there. He helped me, with my feelings, the way I feel about life and about everything. So I will continue holding on to him. I will continue holding on to my faith. And my faith grew to from I started sitting in my bed without my legs with broken life, and I was crying out to God. And then the Lord inspired me to seek help worldwide with prosthetic legs. I received an answer from American specialist who was interested in helping me, and he invited me to come to California, and he made prosthetic legs for me. And then when I came to California, I see that this is actually the land where I could live independently. So I again say, Lord, that would be a nice place to live. And then when I went back to Europe, and then there again, I was praying, I was seeking God. I was seeking the Lord in my prayer. I said, speak to me. I want to hear you. And through the Holy Scriptures, the Lord was speaking with me, and he directed me to come back to California. He said, I will bless you to establish your life there. And I was saying, God, how? I don't have anything. I have only luggage and a couple of people that I know. How? And through his word, the Lord responded, do not be afraid. For I am your God. Do not be dismayed. I will help you. And so I said, okay, if God blessed me in my first, let's say, goal to walk again with prosthetic legs. So, and now he's directing me. So since the Lord directs me, I will trust him that all circumstances are in his power. People's hearts are in his hands. So since the Lord is speaking to me to go back to California, I will trust him that he will bless me. And the Lord was faithful. So what's important to grow in faith first is to be like a child, and speak to the Lord and wait for his answer. And then grow in faith is important to have faith to step out into the unknown, trusting that God is going to bless you. A lot of times people remain in the same level where they were because they stay in that comfort zone, and they trust in God only when they go to the church and they pray, they say God is almighty, but then they go back to the comfort zone and they sit there and they don't step out in faith, even though if the Lord directs them to do something. So that's how I grew. I grew like in the Holy Scriptures, there is a story about David when he said, the Lord helped me to win against the bear, against the lion, just like he helped me there. He will bless me with this Philistine in that fight with Goliath. So that's how I grew in my faith. Never forget what the Lord has done, and strengthen your faith. It's a choice. It's a decision to trust the Lord. Yeah.
Wow, that is so beautiful. And as you were talking, it just came to me, there's a lot of people over the last several months that have gone through some really big challenges like you're talking about. Maybe they've lost a job, or maybe they've lost, their health, or maybe a spouse has lost their health, or they've lost their job. And so as people are facing these kinds of transitions, how can they do that from a place of maybe not having that faith? Maybe they just don't. Maybe they've prayed and they just feel like they're not getting answers. How can they continue to move forward?
Don't be discouraged when you don't get the answer right away. That's where a lot of people that's where a lot of people make a mistake. For some reason, there's an opinion that if I pray and then I don't receive the answer, that means the prayer doesn't work and there is no God, and that's it. Faith is broken. It's important to Pray to the Lord and hold on to your faith. Do not allow your doubts into your heart, and just stick to your faith. It's a decision. Like, let's say we watch the news. Let's say you choose whatever channel you choose, right? For some reason, people believe in what the news say, right? But how do they know it's true?
Hmm. Right.
How do you know it's true, right? But they make a choice to believe that what the news say on the TV, on the radio, whatever, it's true. That's when I say they become like a child. The Bible, the Holy Scripture is the Word of God, and I am choosing to believe, to put my faith. This is what the Bible says. That means that is true. And in answer whether the Bible is true or not, that's already a whole different topic. Those who are interested, they can go and see. When you search the Lord with your sincere heart, the Lord answers. He does answers. He says, and if you seek my face, right, and with your sincere heart, I will be found by those who seek me, right? I will be found by those who seek me, he says, right? So I just decided to trust God just like a little child, and I just decided that God is able to change my circumstances. People tell me, no, it's impossible. You're out of your mind, that what you are trying to make in your life. I said, no, I know what I'm doing. Don't tell me what to do, because I had faith in God. So God is able. He is able, and stay there with your faith. Stay there with your faith. And it's a choice. It's a choice. Who do you believe, right? What do you consume? Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much truth in that, because I very much talk about that myself from my own lessons that I learned on my journey. And going back to what I said earlier about what you're seeking is always seeking you. And I have these conversations just like you're describing with God all the time. And my twins will say, who are you talking to? And I'm always telling them, I'm talking to God. I'm having this conversation with God. And the beauty is that God can speak through all things. And you can be traveling down the road and have asked God a question, and all of a sudden it's on a billboard on the side of the road. You're going to only see the words that God is speaking to you with that answer. Or, you meet somebody in a grocery store. And so much of that, I, like you, learned on the journey how to grow in that belief, how to grow in that surrender, and just to love from that space of a pure heart, and open myself up to that. And I love hearing you reflecting back to all of us, just like you said, becoming the child, not having to control things or dominate things, but just surrendering into the small child within and allowing the Lord to come through for all of us. And it just, I felt my heart completely expanding while you were sharing.
Yeah, that is so awesome. I know it's very difficult to trust when you face the unknown.
Yeah.
When you face difficult situation and you have no guarantee that situation is going to be resolved, it is not easy to believe that some God that you're telling me about, that he's going to fix it, right?
Yeah.
It is very difficult. But it's important to understand, and that helped me to have faith, understanding that the spiritual realm is real, just like physical. And the physical realm reflects that which is in the spiritual. God sees your heart. He knows your heart. So when you, like a child, you truly trust him, no matter what is going on in your life, no matter how broken you are, no matter how broken your situation, God is watching. He's watching and he sees you. And if you truly, with your pure, sincere heart, you're crying out to him and you say, Lord, okay, show me yourself. That's how it was in my life when I was crying out, saying, God, why it was so cruel, how I am going to live my life. And I picked up my Bible and I said, Lord, okay, this is your word. I need to hear from you. Speak to me, God. Okay, so this is your word. I will open. I need to hear from you. And I just opened it, and the Lord, my eyes got into the story where Jesus healed the blind one, the blind man, and he said, and somebody said, whose fault is that he's blind? And Jesus said, nobody's fault, but for the works of the Lord would be displayed on him. And shivers went through my body, and I said, God, are you serious? I closed my Bible and I said, I don't want to even talk to you anymore, because I got angry, like I lost my legs. And you're telling me that your glory is going to be, that's how I understood it, that God is going to restore and my health and my life, and in that there will be a lot of glory to God. And I said, you must be kidding me. And so I left my room, and my conversation with God was over. And another day or a day after, I'm walking, and I'm like, well, in the wheelchair, right? And I'm again talking to God. I said, God, where are you? I need to hear from you. I know you are existing. Like, you're not a fairy tale. I need to hear from you. Here's the Bible. Here's your word. Speak to me. As though God is going to tell you different, right? Something.
Right.
But I was learning to trust the Lord. See, so I said, okay, I will open my Bible. I need to hear from you, girls. What do you think when I just open my Bible blindly? What do I see? Exactly the same story,
Yep.
exactly the same words, and that moment I understand. Stop questioning why.
Mm-hmm.
Surrender. Just trust your Father and go where he leads you.
Yeah.
And so that's when I put my Bible and I said, okay, God, show me yourself, show me your glory, and I will bring your glory to the nations. And that was my agreement with the Lord. You restore my life, and I will bring your glory to the nations. I will tell people what you have done in my life. Since then, my journey became a beautiful, beautiful journey, full of answered prayers, full of astonishing changes. My life is restored. I live actually better and more fulfilling life today than I did before the car accident.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm truly happy, and I'm grateful for the car accident. I'm grateful for everything that I've gone through. And that's how God is. When you trust him, when you say, okay, I don't know how, I don't know when, but I know that I will receive your answer, because you are a living God. You have power over everything, and you are faithful to your word. That's it. And my life has gone really interesting way. But important is to not just sit and wait until everything is going to be just laid, right before you. It required a lot of work. It required a lot of stepping out in faith into unknown, trusting that God is going to bless me, and work very hard. Work with yourself, with your, again, mindset, with how you look at things, what you focus, your work ethics, everything. It did require a lot of work from me, but, believing in God doesn't mean that you have to sit at home and just believe and pray and everything is going to happen to you. No, but when you do everything that you can, you go beyond above and beyond, right? And you believe that God is going to bless you, the Lord will bless you, and he can pull you out of hopelessness. He can change any kind of situations. He can restore your life no matter how broken you are today. That is my living testimony of that, and I know, God can help anybody who is truly crying out to him.
Well, I just really love your message. And one of the verses that has been hanging around my desk recently is, be still and know that I am God. And a lot of what you're saying really resonates with that for me. And I think that can be really challenging. We like to see answers. We'd like to see things happen. And being still and waiting for things isn't always the easiest thing to do. And so when we are in those spaces where, we've asked for something, but we're still waiting, what else can we do? What kind of actions can we actually take to support ourselves in our journey?
I was always, making an effort. I never sat there and waited until everything will drop into my life out of the blue sky. I took action, and I believe, and that's how it was my personal journey. When I pray to the Lord and I ask God help with something or direct me, I'm watching what is going on behind the circumstances. It's very easy to miss the opportunity if you don't pay attention at the insights that are coming to you. Sometimes the Lord speaks to you through people, through the book, through the nature even. The Lord would change the weather like in a matter of few moments as an answer to me when I was crying out to him about some situation there. So what empowered me is after I pray, I'm watching what is going on in my life behind the situation. It's very critical point because a lot of answers came to me through the insight, simple insight. Like, go on the internet and look for help worldwide about the prosthetic legs. If I had dismissed, neglected that insight, it would pass, and I would never have done that, and probably I would not be in California. I would not have the story that I do today. If I had dismissed and neglected the thought when I said, God, how can I help my brother? The thought, it's just a thought, comes to you. Write him a letter. If I had neglected it, there would no be Unstoppable today. And also, as I'm sharing with you now, it comes to me also, so when you get inspiration, let's say inspiration to do something, and you come and you will see the stumbling block. Like let's say when I was inspired to go online, look for help worldwide for the prosthetics answer, I did not know English that well. And when I opened the About Prosthetics worldwide, I did not understand what those websites were saying. So that is the moment when I could have said, well, I don't know English. I don't understand what's going on here. And plus, it's worldwide. It's impossible for me to get the prosthetic legs worldwide. I would shut down my computer and that would be it. But I believe that insight was from the Lord, and I see the obstacle. I don't know English. I don't understand anything. So instead of shutting down and saying, well, okay, this cannot be done, what I did, God, okay, how can I do this? Okay, the vocabulary. So I took a dictionary, Russian English dictionary. I know Russian as well. And so that's the only dictionary that we had, Russian English. I still have it here. So I took dictionary and I literally, girls, I translated basically every other word to understand what those prosthetic websites actually say.
Yeah.
Right? When I was inspired to write the book, for 7 years, I refused to write a book. I said, I do not want it. I don't like it. I'm not an author. Forget it. But when I saw that God was leading me that way, what I had to do, I said, okay, if you are inspiring me, that means that you will equip me. You will help me. So I overcame the obstacle of I don't want to. I don't know how to. And I kept working on that goal. By the way, it was recognized among the best books of the spring in 2018 in San Francisco Book Festival.
Wow.
You can imagine my astonishment when I received those news. But but that's the thing, so it's important to see, to pay attention. If you receive insight, if you receive, advice, understanding, awareness, what do you need to do, and do not stop when the obstacles show up.
Yeah, absolutely. So Inga, I was reading on your website that you have 2 golden rules. And I was wondering if you would share those 2 golden rules with us.
Let me remember now. The focus, I think, the focus on what you can do, what you have, how can you do what you need to do. It's a lot of times people stop when they say, okay, I don't know how to, I cannot. Let's say that was like when I was cooking. I think that was my thing. Like, I cannot cook with one hand. I cannot peel potatoes. I cannot do anything, right? So that is, again, that crossroad where you can stop yourself. I don't know how to. I don't have the resources. So golden rule is focus on what you have and ask yourself a question: how can you do instead of can I? And also, I think that was the never forget where you came from, so you appreciate what you have.
Yeah.
You know, that is critical. That is very, very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow.
I think that's the post that I was writing there.
Yeah, I liked it.
So beautiful. So much of what you shared with us has been so powerful tonight. I know this has been really a huge help for anyone who was here listening and able to participate. So thank you so much for sharing all of this with us this evening.
That was a great pleasure. It was awesome to speak with both of you. Thank you so much for inviting me to participate on your show. I hope my message will inspire and encourage others. Thank you so much.
You bet. So go ahead and share with our podcast listeners as well how they can find you at your website and how they can purchase your book.
You can go on becomingunstoppable.org. Again, becomingunstoppable.org, and I see you have here on the screen. And right there, people can find information if they want to purchase a book. There is information about the book and where they can obtain it. Or if somebody wants to invite me to speak to their audience, also there is contact information, and all the information is on the becomingunstoppable.org. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. We've really appreciated you being on the show with us tonight.
Such a joy.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Thank
All
you
right,
so
Pam,
much.
go ahead and share with our audience how they can find us on the web.
Well, you can find us on the web at thehighvibenation.com and on Facebook at The High Vibe Nation, and then, of course, on Instagram at The High Vibe Nation.
Wonderful. We want to thank each and every one of you for joining us every week on Monday and Wednesday evenings at 5:00 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. As always, it's been an amazing pleasure to be with our guests today. And we want to thank all of our audience members as always. You have fully supported the High Vibe Nation, and Pamela and I are very grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you, our audience members, for sharing this feed out, so that you can inspire your own friends and others who you think need to hear Inga's message. It's been a phenomenal message tonight. So once again, thank you so much. And until next week, have an amazing rest of the week. Bye now.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
From everybody here at the High Vibe Nation, we want to say thank you for choosing to raise your vibration. And of course, please like, share, and subscribe. If you need to find us on the web, check us out at www.thehighvibenation.com. Looking forward to seeing you on the next episode, and keep high vibing.